pours love into the family. He pours love into the home. So his love can overflow into the world. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people, so his love can overflow into the world.
God bless you and welcome back to Three Angels Broadcasting. So happy that you could join us today for this program. And unfortunately, my husband could not make it for this program, but once again, my co-host is Fluffy. And I do want to say Fluffy has become quite a popular figure here at Three Angels Broadcasting Network. Not too long ago, Dan and I were at an airport and we were just standing in line, getting ready to load onto an airplane, and a couple came up to us and they said, "Danny and Linda, Three Angels Broadcasting Network." And we said, "Yes, hello." And they said, "How's Fluffy?" So we kind of chuckle about that. Fluffy, you can tell by looking at that face, you just can't help but love a pet as sweet as this one. And I have to say, she really is a blessing from the Lord. Speaking of blessings, we have Barbara Kerr with us once again today. She's with the ministry Taste of Health, and she is going to be sharing some wonderful Korean vegetarian recipes. So please stay with us. You know, at one time there was a pastor who spoke about a deacon who belonged to a congregational church in Boston. This is a true story. And this deacon, many, many years ago, told this pastor, "You know, I'll never be able to do special music for you in your church, and I can't ever speak at a prayer meeting, and I really don't offer well-versed prayers in public very well. But one thing that I can do is I can set extra plates at my table, and I really feel that that's my ministry." So he did this ministry for over 30 years, and he was very successful. There were many people who found Christ as their personal Savior simply by him inviting them home to dinner and developing friendships in this way. And when this man died, he was to be buried in a town that was 30 miles away. And since he was a well-known merchant, a special train was chartered to carry the funeral party. It was made known that any people that had become Christians as a result of this man's efforts, they would be welcomed in a very special way. And over 150 people showed up for that funeral party to honor the man who had brought the gospel to them through the dinner plate. You know, someone once said, "Those who love deeply never grow old. They may die of old age, but they die young." And I'm here to tell you today, I'm sure that that man died young because he was in the habit of sharing his love through the dinner plate. You know, the gospel is very effectively preached in our homes when we invite people home to dinner. The Bible says that Jesus ate regularly with tax collectors and sinners. And he used that as an opportunity to spread the gospel. And when speaking about offering the gift of salvation, God says in Revelation chapter 3, verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me." I think the Lord uses the avenue of having dinner with us just to illustrate how close and how intimate that he wants to get with us today. And there's no doubt about it, when you have people over to your house and you eat dinner with them, you know, a lot of barriers are broken and you're really able to share on such a personal and individual basis. So if Jesus thought it was important to use the dinner plate in evangelism, I think we need to as well. And we're here to assist you in doing that. Barbara Kerr, I think she's an expert. I like to call her the Julia Childs of vegetarian cooking, and she will be sharing some wonderful vegetarian recipes that you can share with others as you evangelize and reach out for the cause of Jesus Christ. But before we go to Barbara, Angie Hoffman has a beautiful song to share at this time, A Channel of Your Love.
Lord, let me be a channel of your love. Oh, let me be your hand of mercy, reaching out to others in your name.
Welcome back to the 3ABN Kitchen, and I hope that you're ready to have a good time, to have some fun today, because every time my guest Barbara Kerr is here, we have a good time. If there's an explosion in the kitchen, we leave it on tape.
That's right. Thank you, Linda. Or if we knock the pans over.
Right.
Well, good. That makes it a lot more fun, don't you think?
Yes.
That way they know we're not perfect.
That's right. It's good to have you
Thank
back.
you.
Tell us what's on the agenda today.
Well, today we're going to make some things for a spring holiday. I wanted to find some foods that were really colorful, and so I think this Korean stir fry, which I really cannot tell you the correct name for it, but I just call it my spring stir fry. So. Because I don't speak Korean, I know there is a name for it, so those people that know what it is, if you recognize it, you'll say, you can write and tell me what the dish is, but we're making some Korean food today. So
great.
Our menu for you is a spring stir fry, of course, which will be full of color, and we're going to make an Oriental salad. I've got a ginger dressing that my husband gave me 2 thumbs up on. So, I mean, when Bill does that, I know something's pretty good.
Double thumbs, huh?
Yeah, double thumbs from Bill is primo. So I was real excited when he did that. And we're going to make a key lime coconut parfait. And if you haven't noticed by now, I'm real partial to tropical. I just thought lime would be kind of a spring type of dessert. And then I'd like to make a real pretty leek flower garnish that's very simple, that just adds something nice to your table to show people how to garnish. And we're going to end with a raspberry foamy for a drink.
That sounds wonderful, and actually all these recipes the Lord gave you.
Absolutely.
You pray over your recipes.
I did, and I really prayed hard over these, Linda, because I changed this whole program 2 days before I came here, and I was feeling a little stressed, but I just kept praying and saying, God, just send me something. And so I really hope that you like what we have today, and I like food. I like just about all food, and you're really easy to please as far as a palate too, Linda. So I think you'll enjoy it. About 4 years ago, we had a Korean woman named Jeannie Jo come and live at our house for 3 months, and she was helping take care of me when I was really sick and juicing for me. And she has her own ministry where she had quit a very lucrative job working in Korea for Reader's Digest, and she was just going here in America whenever somebody needed help. I have no idea what's happened to Jeannie Jo since she left our house and has moved on to take care of other people, but while she was in our home, she taught me a few Korean dishes. So I don't know that I have every single ingredient that she put in it, but I think I've got the majority. And the important thing they say is that it has to be colorful to your eye. So if you use that as your guide and you make something that has lots of color in it, like we're going to do today, then you can pretty well be assured that it's going to be right on.
All right. Well, let's get started.
Okay. Our spring stir fry ingredients are: we're going to start with 1 12-ounce package of Oriental Noodles. Now these can be mung bean or sweet potato starch, although the mung bean is probably the best. Water enough to boil the noodles in a 6-quart Dutch oven. 1½ teaspoons salt. 2 tablespoons sesame oil. 2 stalks celery sliced into 1/2-inch diagonals. 1 large onion sliced into strips. 5 cups of Napa cabbage sliced thin, 1/4 cup of liquid aminos, 1 red pepper sliced into thin strips, 1 yellow pepper sliced into thin strips, 2 cups shredded carrots, 1/4 cup sesame oil, 1/4 cup liquid aminos, 1 teaspoon salt or to taste. Now this recipe we're going to start out with, I have taken the noodles. Now the Oriental noodles, this is the kind of thing you really need to either have an Oriental section in your grocery store or just go to an Oriental market. And this is a mung bean noodle. And I just wanted to, this package was 14 ounces, so it was a little bit more than what we needed. And so I saved out just a little bit so they could see what it looks like before it's cooked. And this noodle is really great because when it cooks up, it really has absolutely zero taste. And you can see here that we've already
more of a texture.
Right, it's something that you want to flavor yourself. And these noodles are, I think they're very pretty. They're very clear. They're very springy. You kind of feel like you're getting your exercise when you eat them. So I've taken and boiled water and put our package of noodles in here with 1½ teaspoons of salt. And we boiled this just for about 5 minutes. And you really want to watch them because as they will puff up very quickly. And I'm not sure if you can overcook them because I've never tried. I haven't tried that, so I'm not sure, but I've always just kind of watched them, and when they're done, take and put them in a colander and rinse them with cold water. And you want to rinse them several times, kind of let them soak in some water. That way you get all of the starch off of there. And when you go later to use them, you can just rinse them with cold water right before you put them in a recipe, and they should just perk right up for you. So they're not like a rice noodle, which will a lot of times fall apart and get real mushy. So look for the mung bean. It has less flavor than the sweet potato. There is a noodle just made out of sweet potato. It's kind of odd. It looks almost like this, only it's more of a gray color, and it's also very pretty. So we're going to start out though. We've got our noodles finished, Linda. And we're going to put some sesame oil in our wok, and just 2 tablespoons. And let that heat up just a touch.
Now this pan, you didn't have to bring in your knapsack through the airports.
No, I didn't have to this time. I'll tell you.
If you ever see somebody running through an airport with a knapsack with all kinds of kitchen utensils hanging out, that's just Barbara.
Now Linda's going to make me blush. That's right, and usually I'm not too shy about it. So we're going to start with just putting 2 stalks of celery, and you don't want these to be real small pieces. And probably today I should have worn my apron. I don't like wearing an apron in the kitchen. Do you wear an apron at all?
I don't wear an apron either, usually.
And we're going to put our onion in. And you want these also in large strips so that they kind of hold up after you've put in the, just kind of break them up a little bit.
I like it already. Good. Celery and onions.
My husband does love Oriental food. This dish I can get him to eat. Now you're just going to stir fry these until you see the onions start to wilt a bit, and you're going to see the celery really turn nice and bright green. Doesn't it already smell good? When you use a pure sesame oil, that also gives it the Oriental flavor that we're looking for, and that way it just tastes wonderful. I like it. But you know, I wanted to tell you, when I was getting ready to come out here, I was doing some research, and I had gone to one of our local health food bread stores, and I met a girl who was 20 years old, and she had a brother who was 17, who was a senior in high school, and they'd moved from Syracuse, New York. I believe that's correct. And she told me, because I was asking for vegan bread, she said, well, I don't think we have any vegan bread here. I said, you thought I have vegan bread? I've never been to a healthy food store, a bread store that didn't have vegan bread. She says, well, just about everything has honey in it. And I said, honey? I never thought of honey as not being a vegan ingredient. And she says, oh, sure. She said, because it comes from the bee, and it's an animal byproduct. And there's a new fad, and of course I'm not in high school anymore, I'm sure you can tell. But as a matter of fact, I'm almost my 15-year reunion this year. Can you believe that?
Oh my.
I know, I'm getting old, like the rest of us. But anyway, she said it's really the fad right now, Linda, to be vegan in high school. But the thing that scared me was that she said kids are dying from a vegan diet. And they are taking it to a point where they are not eating a variety of foods. And it really scared me, and it made me feel like it's even more important that when we share these food shows to stress, if you're going to eat vegan, which I personally believe God is leading us to this,
That's right,
that you have to eat a variety of foods. That includes a variety of nuts and grains and a variety of vegetables. You can't pick 2 vegetables and 1 grain and one favorite dish and think that you can sustain life on it, because you can't. They're dying from malnutrition. So I just would like to make a plea to people that if you're watching this presentation and you are a young person or you're older than 17, if you're on a vegan diet, please, you try quinoa. Quinoa is a wonderful grain to add. It tastes like rice, and it cooks in 15 to 20 minutes, and it's very, very tasty, and it has all of the essential amino acids in it. So that's really a great one to add. But We just, variety is the spice of life. Now we're going to add about 5 cups of Napa cabbage. Now this looks like a lot, Linda, but as you stir this in just a little, you're going to find that it's going to reduce by about half, and then we'll know it's time to add our next ingredient. I'm just going to set this over here. I love making Linda do the work for me.
Hey, I enjoy it.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad. I think you and I both like to cook.
Yes.
So.
I think if I had more time, I'd be in the kitchen a lot more.
Well, my assistant Idalia today told me that she just loved cutting and chopping because we were doing all of the chopping for the salad and the stir fry, and I said, boy, cutting and chopping is not one of my favorite things. I just love to cut. I love to chop. I said, no, I'm too busy. I've got to get out of the kitchen. I just want to be able to cut it up fast. And you know, one thing you can do with this kind of thing is that if you know you're going to make some stir fries and a bunch of things like that, or you don't know what you're going to do with your food, when you get a head of Napa cabbage or lettuce of some kind or carrots, go ahead on Sunday afternoon or whenever it's a good time for you, shred up 5 or 6 cups of carrots, cut up your cabbage and things like that. Rinse them, put them in Ziploc baggies, and that way during the week when you come home from work, just take a few cups of, a cup of onions, a cup of celery, 3 or 4 cups of different things. Throw it in a pan, just lightly saute it in maybe some olive oil or a little canola oil or a little sesame oil if you're going to do Oriental, and it's wonderful. I mean, that way you've got a fast dinner. I mean, you can have it done in less than 15 minutes. So. Why do we have to be so busy these days, Linda? But you know, healthy is what we're striving for, and probably my biggest requests are for healthy fast food. It's just we're living in a day and age where we want to be in and out. And
that's right.
So this is looking very good. You are such a good cook, Linda.
Hey, this is great.
It's nice when you got it all cut up and you can come and just dump it in the pan.
You know, in cooking food like this, usually, people will throw in all kinds of vegetables, the ones that they particularly like. But usually the key is the sauce.
Yes.
And that's what I'm interested in learning about today.
Well, great. The sauce for over this is very simple. It's going to be, mostly what's going to flavor it are our liquid aminos, which is an unfermented soy sauce. It has all the amino acids in it, and a little more sesame oil. There's something about that sesame flavor that just will give it what we want.
Good.
So, and see how that's starting to look a little bit brighter, like the yellow's getting brighter and the green. And I think here we're going to put just a little bit of our liquid aminos. Now we're going to put our first about 1/4 cup, so we're going to do about half in here. Let me turn this heat back up. It's kind of there. Now we're going to, now it's starting to bubble. We're going to put our noodles in. Now,
when you're cooking something like this too, let me tell you, the aroma draws everybody to the kitchen.
But I have to tell you a little secret. They keep the back door locked. When we're done with the cooking shows and the studio is locked in the back.
There's a stampede to the studio door.
Now this pan is going to get very full. I just want to warn you, maybe we shouldn't put all of these noodles in. This is back to those sandbox days.
Sandbox days, yeah.
So we looked and looked and looked for a really large pan. You know, you need something with really deep sides and can you get that? Yeah, that looks good. So if it goes flying today, it's because Linda did it. Okay, now once you get the noodles in, we're going to put a 1/4 cup of the sesame oil over. Now this is just going to give a little flavor, and also it helps that a little bit at the bottom to cook. We're going to put the rest of our liquid aminos in, or maybe most of it. Well, we're going to want to taste it a little before we do that. Now the one thing that I like to do with this is we have a red pepper, a green pepper, and 2 cups of carrots that are shredded. And when I do this dish, I don't like to put them in until I know it's finished, because I don't want my peppers cooked. I just want them warmed, that's all. Because that way they don't shrivel up and they don't cook down, and they have a lot more nutrition in them for you if they're cooked less time. So
Well, I'm
Looks
glad
like
that
they're
you're
mixing it.
sharing these secrets with us today. Dan and I, we enjoy going to Oriental
Do you like
restaurant
Chinese
in
food?
the area, yes.
Good.
And now I'll be able to make my own at home.
That's right. Well, you know, I have to tell you, my plan was to do egg rolls. Well, I guess we'd call them spring rolls here, wouldn't we? Eggless egg rolls, spring rolls with vegetables in them. And so we have a new, it's a restaurant that's been in town. We just moved to Columbia, South Carolina. And so Bill always scouts out all of the Oriental restaurants because he wants to know what's really good, and that's one of his favorite foods. So we went and he found these vegetarian spring rolls that were absolutely wonderful. I mean, wonderful. And they had little noodles in them, and I was trying to figure out what the noodle was, and I know now that it was the mung bean noodle, but it was really, really small. Well, I tried my hardest, Linda, because I'm the copycat. You know, I'll go and get the gourmet thing. I'm tasting it. What do you think's in here? You know, writing stuff down on paper, and so I probably, you know, had to go through 4 or 5 orders at different times getting these spring rolls. I went to the Oriental market. We told them what we wanted, you know, egg roll wrappers, and went home. And they're just these round paper, I mean, paper thin. Have you ever seen the egg roll wrappers? They're paper thin, and they're made out of rice. And you have to run them under water on both sides. Then you put them on top of a wet towel. And this is a secret. I mean, this is like secret stuff that we just don't know, right? Then you make up your, you could just put this inside, really, anything. Mostly vegetables, when you want to take some noodles out. You just put a little bit in, wrap it up, and then I was going to just roll them in a little bit of sesame oil. I didn't want to deep fry them, and then cook them in a nonstick skillet. I thought that'll work great. It just it kept falling apart. It didn't work, and I was about at my wit's end. And the very last day when I went, I just changed my mind completely. Said I'm just going to stick with the stir fry. Went to the market, and she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to cook them. I thought you were just going to eat them. You need this." And she pulled these special wrappers out. And of course, I didn't have any time then to experiment with them. But at some time in the future, I'd like to teach people how to make a very authentic spring roll.
That would be wonderful.
Let me grab these carrots and give you a little bit more challenge now. We'll put in our carrots. Our red pepper, this is just one red pepper sliced thinly into strips, and I don't know, Linda, this pan doesn't look like it's
nobody will blame me if some of these vegetables come popping out.
I did this on purpose. I knew when we got the pan that it wasn't quite big enough, but there just wasn't much of a selection, so.
What a beautiful color.
Oh, this is really a gorgeous dish.
Yes.
And then if you want, I'll put that one back in. If you want, when you're done, you can taste it, and then if it needs more salt or whatever, you can just adjust that to your own taste. So, but it should have the basic flavor. And then as you mix these things in, it looks very, very beautiful. It's kind of hard to just mix in.
So when you put the peppers in, what you could do is actually take it off the heat and put a lid on it and just let it sit for a couple minutes till they heat through, and then serve it.
Well, you know, this becomes so hot, the noodles, I think that it depends. I would just wait, like do this first part of your dish. Wait, especially if you're doing it Sabbath afternoon, you've got everything there until you're ready to sit down at the table, then go throw your peppers and carrots in, because otherwise, even once they get hot, like I'm going to turn this off now, you'll just see they start to kind of wilt, and you don't want that. Yeah. So that is our spring stir fry, and we're going to put this in a pretty bowl. Now I went ahead and left the salt out because I wanted to.
Okay.
I don't like to, and I have over salted a few times. I'll give you a fork. I just want to test a noodle. Now these noodles are real. No close up on these guys.
That is fabulous. You know, and that really tastes authentic. It's Oriental.
I think so. Well, Jeannie was really funny because she was not a cook. And she'd say, I've watched my mother do this a number of times, but she really was a business person who had completely changed her life. So she kept telling me that her cooking was not authentic, but I think it is, and I think that,
that's great.
That this is just wonderful. So I've got a pretty white dish down here.
Okay.
Yes, that one. And we're going to put this into there. And I'm going to let you kind of guide it with these, and I'm going to pick up the pan because there's no handle on the side. You guys always get to watch us. Maybe turn that bowl the other direction.
Okay.
There you go.
This could be dangerous.
Okay. We'll yell real loud.
Yeah. Woo.
Isn't
Boy,
that
that is beautiful.
So will that go right on top?
Looks perfect for a spring holiday meal.
I'll tell you.
You know, the Lord has blessed us with such a variety of fruits and vegetables, and you can do so many different things with them.
Isn't that? I just love it when it turns out that pretty. So we can just set our.
Let's get a close up of that one.
That's great. Well, the next thing we have is an Oriental salad. Okay. Now this salad is very simple. Let me read the ingredients for you. They are 1/2 head iceberg lettuce cut up, 1/2 head of romaine lettuce cut up, 2 cups Napa cabbage sliced thin, 1 cup purple cabbage sliced thin, 5 medium radishes sliced thin, 1 medium tomato diced, 1/2 red pepper cut into thin strips, 1 carrot shredded.
And if your hand cannot write that recipe down fast enough, just call us here at Three Angels Broadcasting Network, 1-800-752-3226, and we will send you, free of charge, the recipes on today's program. At the end of this program, we'll be putting Barbara's address up, and she has many, 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 many recipes available, and you can contact her. And also, you're available to do cooking schools.
Well, that's what I hear. I would love to. I haven't been asked to do one here in America yet, but I'm working on that.
Great.
So we're going to start off with our iceberg lettuce, and it seems to be a good salad base, but this is a lettuce that doesn't have an amazing amount of nutrition in it. So you just want it to be kind of your base. You don't want this to be the most. Now we've got 1/2 head of romaine lettuce, and this has a lot of nutrition in it. It also gives it some nice dark green. And we've got purple cabbage. And this also is something that you want. This makes your salad very oriental and very colorful. So if you ever notice when you eat a salad at a Japanese or Chinese restaurant or Korean, you'll notice if they serve you a salad, it always has a lot of color in it. So how much Napa cabbage do we have? It's about
2 cups.
Okay. Napa cabbage, it's just kind of, it's kind of a fun cabbage. And then we've got 1 medium large tomato diced. Well, I wish I could just go home and make salad like this at home. And we've got 1/2 of a red pepper. And we have 1 medium carrot shredded and 5 radishes, or thereabouts.
I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you tackle this one.
Chicken. Okay, we're just going to.
See, I'll be here to catch whatever comes flying my way.
We're just going to kind of toss this around, and this way it's kind of half American, half Oriental, with the lettuces in there. And the cabbage. And cabbage is very good for you. Even though it's very hard for some people to digest, it's very good for your intestinal tract. So I've had a couple cups of cabbage juice in my lifetime, and it's very strong, very unusual, but very good for you. So yeah, I think you can see how pretty that is and how colorful, although I've probably got a lot of it down there at the bottom, but that's okay. Now we're going to make a really nice dressing to put over this. It's very thin. It doesn't have a thickener in it, but that's okay. You just want something to drizzle over there to give it that nice ginger flavor. So let me read the ingredients for you. They are 1 teaspoon of fresh minced garlic, 1/4 plus 1/8 cup lemon juice, 1/4 cup liquid aminos, 1/4 cup honey, 1 tablespoon ginger grated, 2 teaspoons mustard powder, 1/4 cup sesame oil, 2 teaspoons carrot puree, and 2 tablespoons of celery puree. So those are some unusual ingredients. And we're going to put this into a saucepan, and we've got a saucepan over here that's unwarm. And let's go ahead and put our, let me get a spoon here. We're going to put our garlic in. Okay, now this garlic doesn't give it a strong garlic flavor, just a little bit. And we've got our 1/4 cup plus 1/8 of a cup of lemon, right? I'm going to let you read those and I'll put them in.
Then we have our 1/4 cup of liquid aminos.
Okay.
Now this is something that you can purchase at a health food store. You won't
Correct.
find it just yet at your regular grocery store.
Right. It is becoming popular. More and more people are starting to
Yes.
learn about that.
And we have a 1/4 cup of honey.
Okay.
Now everybody's going to want to write down this recipe because this was the double thumbs recipe.
Yeah, this is a double thumbs
up.
from Bill. So.
Yes. 1 tablespoon grated ginger.
Okay, and ginger, you can grate on one of those real fine graters. It's kind of difficult, but they have a little ginger grater at the Oriental Market, so if you end up doing a lot of ginger, just get one. It's only like $2 or $3, and it has little spikes that stick out going 2 directions. So as you go down, it grates, and as you come back up, and it pulls the little strings out of it, because it's kind of, but this is a interesting dressing. I'll just have to have you try it.
Then our 2 teaspoons of mustard powder.
Okay, I'm going to make sure and break up any lumps. This comes right from the mustard seed. There's no vinegar in here.
And then our 1/4 cup sesame oil gives it the Oriental flavor.
I think I put that in
that
already.
in. Okay, 2 teaspoons carrot puree.
Okay, now this is, all I've done is shredded carrot, and then I just chopped it real fine with a knife to get it pureed. You don't need any kind of fancy, some kind of tool to do this. This is all things you can cut up with a knife, and then our celery. And they both give it a little interesting flavor. Like the one thing I love about, I went to a Japanese restaurant years and years ago, and they served a ginger soup that I would love to have the recipe for, and it was just a broth, but it had the flavor of ginger and just a few specks of something in it. And that was, my mind was turned on to, but I've never really tried to imitate that, although I think I'm going to venture and try and do that sometime soon. But I just really love the flavor of ginger, and I think that this sauce will give it your salad a really interesting flavor. Now you just want to heat this, you don't want to boil it. If you do boil it, you don't change the flavor, but what will happen is it'll make a little bit of a foam on top that you really, you can scrape it off, but you just want it warmed through, and then it is done. And we can just put this right into, got a little bowl down here. I didn't have a ladle, but I think we'll find something that can make do. What do you think?
Oh, yes.
Make sure that, okay. Let me just whisk this just a little bit to make sure we've got any of the mustard powder broken up. And I'll hold it out here. So. And that's our ginger dressing. Have you ever had a ginger dressing before, Linda?
I don't believe I have ever tried a ginger dressing, but I guarantee I'll be trying one today.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Looks wonderful. Well, I'm going to set it right next to our salad here. And it looks like our key lime coconut parfait is next.
And it is wonderful. If you like key lime or you like lime, just lime in general, you're going to like this dessert. So this is really tasty. The ingredients are 2 teaspoons coconut extract, 1 cup lime juice, 2 12.3 ounce boxes of Morinu Firm Tofu Light, 2 3.85 ounce packages of Morinu Mates Vanilla Low-Fat Pudding Mix. That is the secret ingredient, by the way. 1 teaspoon lime zest, 1 to 2 tablespoons coconut shredded unsweetened, and 4 to 8 half slices of lime for garnish. Linda, you can make this dessert. How's that sound?
Well, hey, I don't have my shoulder pads on, but I think I'll tackle the Bosch when it tries to jump off the table.
All right, it sounds good. Go ahead and start with our tofu. Now, this is 2 12.3 ounce boxes.
And you can purchase these at just about any grocery store
yeah.
now.
Just go to the section that usually has the fresh herbs and the Oriental things.
Or
That's where you
produce.
can- yeah. And you want the silken tofu. You don't want the water packed, because silken tofu you can put in a dessert and it won't be gritty. If you put the water packed in, you'll blend it forever and it'll be gritty. So you want to use silken. Now go ahead and put our lime, and we've got 1 cup of lime juice. And this is absolutely wonderful. My best friend Claudia Welty, who lives in Florida and comes up and helps me on the Food for Thought shows, she loves key lime pie. So that's my payment to her. Every time she comes up and helps, I make her. I used to have to make her the bad stuff, you know, but I mean, hey, it worked. She loves key lime. But now that we found this recipe, when she was up here the last time, she says, I will eat this forever. She gave it the 2 thumbs up. So,
all right.
So for those now we're just going to blend. Go ahead and put the coconut in. You're right. Go ahead and put this. No, not that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
The
flavoring.
That's right. That sounds good. And then we'll blend that up until it becomes fairly smooth before we add the pudding mixes. Now when you've got that liquid in there, it goes pretty fast.
Looks like a
That looks
milkshake.
good. It looks good. But it doesn't taste good right now. You don't. Now, this is one of the secret ingredients, and I don't know if you've ever used these, but this is absolutely wonderful. This is the Maury New Mates, and this is the vanilla flavored pudding mix, and you can get this at a health food store. And this is wonderful. You can turn this into about any flavored berry, or just experiment with it. There's all different kinds of fruits and things that you can put on the bottom, put into mixing with tofu. And if you really are serious about replacing desserts, which seems to be, Linda, the hardest thing for people to do, you might want to push some of that down before. Yeah, because I don't know if that'll suck that down. Desserts are one of the hardest things for people to replace because they just don't want to give up their cheesecake, which I was like cheesecake was one of my absolute favorite desserts, and so. But I'll tell you what, I think I can make some things, and maybe in the future of using this as a base, come up with some cheesecakes and things like that.
Well, you know, if you can find a recipe that tastes good and it's good for you, I mean, that is a double thumbs up.
Yeah.
I mean, because.
Well, when you compare this to regular piece of key lime pie, I didn't check to see what the fat grams were on the back of a can of sweetened condensed milk, but I think they're fairly high. I need to check that to be sure, but when I kind of did my calculating in my head for this recipe using the light tofu, you've got about 5 grams of fat in a serving, which really for a dessert is very, very low. So, we're working with what we've got, and I think it tastes really good. Let's try and push that. Oh, there it's.
You know, my grandparents, I have just wonderful memories of them going over to their house and them baking all these wonderful goodies like grandmothers do. But you know, I'm convinced that if my grandparents had the knowledge that I do now about healthful eating, they would still be living today, and I would be able to share with them, you know, rather than have them resting in the grave now. And so I think it's a much better choice to find recipes that are healthful.
That's
you know, stick around for your family. Your family loves you. Your family needs you.
They do. You're absolutely right. And I find that diet is just such a personal thing, and it's ongoing. I mean, I do not have the victory yet over all dairy products, but you know what? I'm convinced that that is the area and the direction that God is leading me in. And so for me, as I work on more recipes and creative, it helps me have something that has more variety in it, and I don't let Satan make me feel discouraged because I may eat some dairy product someday. I just go on, and the next day is the next day, and I keep working on the recipes I like, and now that I've got something to replace key lime pie, you know, that's wonderful, you know, that's a victory to me.
Well, that's right.
Let's go ahead and put this lime zest in now while this is still mixing, because you want to blend the pudding until it's mixed up.
Tell you, this is smelling just wonderful.
Now the pudding usually takes about 5 minutes in the blender before it becomes silky smooth. So if you mix it in the first time and you think, oh, this just doesn't sound like what she described, just be patient, because all of a sudden there's that magical moment where it kind of dissolves into the tofu, and then it's exactly the way you want it. Very smooth.
I think it's that magical moment now.
Oh, good. Well, Linda, you're easy to please. You and I both love to eat. I do.
Well, I think we've got a winner here.
All right. How's that looking on the top?
Looks great.
Okay. Oh, that looks good. Give it a. Now we're going to put this into our Parfait glasses, which are on the back cupboard. They're kind of. You want to put this into something real pretty. Okay. Because again, it's appealing to the eye. We're going to do this without knocking it.
We want to make the people that we're serving to feel very, very special.
Absolutely, and this makes 4 rather large servings, or if you're going to do it at a very spring holiday, that you could put this in little tiny cups, or it's just something that you have that will be like little 1/4 cup servings, and you can have 8 or 10 servings that will that you'll have.
Okay. Okay, how are we going to make this even prettier?
Now we've got a little garnish, and you know, if anyone's seen any of my Food for Thought shows, I think I've done garnishes on there, but I love to just add a little something. So we're just going to slice.
Don't cut yourself.
I know. I really,
I think on one program you cut yourself.
I've done on a couple, but we're going to this. So far, I'm,
You're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try real hard not to jinx it here. I tell you, I think we need a. Now you can cut this in half too, which might actually even work better. You tell me which you like, the half slice or the whole slice.
I think I like the whole slice.
Okay, we'll put 2 halves on there.
Yeah, they look good. They look good though.
That's a very tasty dessert, and you want to refrigerate it then for a couple hours. Make sure that it's nice and cold, because it becomes a little richer tasting then, and I think it's superb.
Yes. Now we're going to move on to the garnishes.
Yes,
huh?
I have a leek flour garnish, which is a very.
This one has my name on it.
Okay, all right. Then I'll take the one with the full slice on it. How's
Okay.
that, Linda? Now this garnish is very simple, and simple is the key to garnishing. Now you need just a few tools. You're going to need a knife. It can be any utility knife. And to make the center, we're going to use a tomato core. And this is just a little, almost looks like a melon baller with teeth on it. And this is the secret to the center. Now, I'm going to just.
Now where can you purchase a leek this big?
You know, that's all they had in the stores. I've done this on
That's a big one.
this is a very large leek. And all you need to make this is 1 leek, 1 carrot, a knife, a tomato core. So, but you want to find a leek, Linda, that has the root. It doesn't have to have this much of the roots, but if the roots have been cut, then the flour's not going to hold together, okay? You just kind of want to cut these roots off here, push them to the side, but don't break up the root end, Linda. Now, when you look at your leek, you only need about 4 to 5 inches for your garnish. This leek's really big. See how strong?
Hey, you got the muscles all right.
Oh, whew, that made
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, now this is the part that's very simple if you know how to do it. Now we're going to take a knife and go about 1/2 inch from the bottom, and you want to put the tip of and you're going to hold it, pinch it on each side, okay, and kind of pinch as you go along. You do not want your knife. You know what? I'm going to switch to my little paring knife just because I have a little better control with that. And you just want to make cuts that are about 1/4 inch apart, but don't push it all the way through where your leek flour will get away from you. And then
Just about halfway through?
Yeah, you're going about halfway into the leek, and you just kind of pinch and turn as you go. Okay, and you can see how simple this is. And you just go all the way around. And then when we open it up, we're going to dunk it into some ice water, and that's kind of the secret to getting your vegetable flours to open up.
And how long does it take in the water before it's really poofed out?
It doesn't take too long. It's really pretty fast. Okay, so now we've got our leek, which we've cut, and I just kind of, this is real professional. Let's shake it a little. And you want to kind of push some of the leaf petals out. Now, let me show you. I've got some.
You know, it looks like a flower, but it smells like an onion.
Now we're just going to soak this in the cold water just for a few seconds here. It just kind of, it will help it to curl back. The petals will curl back. And if you have time to let it soak for 20 or 30 minutes,
that's better.
You can already see that how it's just starting to, the tips will go back. Okay. Now, we're not going to take the time to do that, but I guarantee you this will all open up and will just sit out there beautifully. Now, something else we do, you can hold on to this.
Okay.
Now, to make the center of our flour, you want to take your carrot, and you need one that has kind of a big end on it, because it's much easier than trying to do this at the small end of a carrot. Take your tomato core, just put the teeth down in, you kind of turn and roll this, and it makes a little
hole,
a little ball of carrot. Okay, now this is going to be the center to our flour.
Oh.
Okay, I'm ready for that.
Okay.
And just kind of shake some of the water off of that. We'll just pull this open. Now, you want to find the center of your flour. Okay, you got a good hold on that, right? Now you want to take a toothpick and break it in half, which we've already done. Stick part of this into, just so it looks like almost like a little mushroom. Okay. I'm going to stick this on here, and then you're going to insert, and I'm going to hold on to this because I don't want to stick your finger with the...
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that is
see?
adorable.
And that's your leek flour. And then you can use this, and that also helps it to open up, okay? And then you can use this to garnish a dish, okay? And if you have something that's very hot, you can do another one that's real simple is a chili pepper. Take a chili pepper, take some scissors and cut in from the narrow end, but wear gloves because they're hot. Real narrow slips, about, you know, a quarter of an inch or less. Stick it in ice water and it will just curl back, and you can use that to signal that something is very hot. So.
Well, that made this dish here look absolutely wonderful.
Oh, I think garnishing is just very beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
It's great. Next, we're going to do the raspberry foamy, Linda, and let's read the ingredients. They are 1 12-ounce can of Welch's frozen white grape raspberry juice concentrate, 3 cans of water, 2 cups of raspberries that have been frozen. Now, this is very simple, and I like simple. So something.
You know, when you say raspberry foamy, it sounds like some of the bubble baths that they have available nowadays. They've kind of gone to fruit. Don't take a bubble bath in this, though. This is for the inside.
And this will add that little extra color. Now, what I'm going to do is mix up. You want to mix your juice in a pitcher because you're not going to pour all of it into your blender to mix the raspberries in. Okay. I'm just going to put in our 3 cups, and I like to use distilled water and the things that I'm going to drink. Probably the only time I don't use it is when I'm boiling pasta. So I guess I've never really. This is just. Okay, we're just going to mix up our
handy item.
Oh yeah. You need a real handy item. Just come. Get all those little nice kitchen tools. Now we're just going to pour. You can just pour half of this. Okay, about half. You want your blender to be about halfway full, and then we're going to put the raspberries in and blend it and put it back in the pitcher. It's all set for you.
Okay.
That looks good. And we're just putting in 2 cups of frozen raspberries. Now this is really a nice, I mean, it's a very simple juice because it's 100% fruit juice, but by adding a little bit of fruit to it, Linda, and blending it up, you're really going to make a nice Sabbath meal.
Sure.
Drink. It's
Can people use fresh fruit if they choose?
Yes, absolutely. Just because of the time of year. I mean, unless you hit it right in what, June or June, July, raspberries are ready. Yeah. It's pretty hard, but I love fresh fruit, so go ahead and. You're doing good. And you'll see it'll get real foamy. That looks great. And of course, if you really want to strain out the seeds, you can. But for this, it's not necessary. There you go. And just pour that right back into our pitcher.
Okay.
And then we'll... Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, yes.
It's a very delicate. And then we're just, you can just mix it up again with your spoon. And you pour you a glass.
That looks beautiful. And actually, the colors are so complementary with what we've already made here.
It's a great spring meal. And see how it foams on the top?
Yes. Well, once again, you have done a wonderful job.
Thank you, Linda.
We would like to put up Barbara's address, and if you would like to make a toast to you.
Oh.
May many more recipes come your way from our Heavenly Father.
Oh, I hope so too, Linda. Thank you. I think we should have some salad.
That's great. That sounds like a good idea. For our viewers at home, we would again like to emphasize that if you would like copies of the recipes that were demonstrated today, please write to us here at Three Angels Broadcasting Network. It's P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois, 62896. Or you can call us at 1-800-752-3226. Well, it looks like our time is all gone for today, but until next time, may God richly bless you.
Thank you for being our family.
Thank you for being our friends.
May God bless and keep you in all that you may do until we meet again.